Welcome to Pasadena Monthly. I'm your host, Justin Chapman. After taking a look at what's been going on in Pasadena this past month, we'll speak with our guest, writer and filmmaker Ellen Snortland. But before we get started, let's check out these Pasadena Media News Briefs.
The Pasadena Senior Center, in partnership with the Foundation for Senior Services, is now offering a disaster recovery, grief, and loss support group for older adults, caregivers, families, and survivors. This virtual program will run through December 23, 2026, and is designed to provide ongoing emotional support in the wake of personal or community loss. Sessions are held via Zoom every week, with meetings on the first and third Tuesdays of each month at 3 p.m., and the second and fourth Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Participants must register in advance to receive the Zoom link. One link is provided for Tuesday sessions and a different one for Wednesdays. The support group offers a compassionate, confidential space to share experiences, find comfort in community, and receive guidance for emotional well-being. Whether navigating the loss of a loved one, a change in health, or other life transitions, participants will find strength and connection through shared understanding. For more information or to register, visit pasadena-seniorcenter.org. The City of Pasadena and the Pasadena Veterans Day Committee will honor the sacrifice of fallen service members at the Pasadena Memorial Day commemoration on Monday, May 26th at 10:30 a.m. in Memorial Park. This solemn ceremony will include a reading of 320 names of men and women from Pasadena who lost their lives in World War I, World War II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, and other military conflicts. As a powerful tribute to those who never returned, the Condor Squadron will perform a missing man formation flyover. Chaplain Pedro Trinidad, Lieutenant Commander, United States Navy Reserve, will deliver both the invocation and benediction. Honoring the legacy of Memorial Day, which began after the Civil War, to mourn the more than 620,000 lives lost, the City of Pasadena continues this enduring tradition, commemorating the local sons and daughters who gave the ultimate sacrifice in service to their country. The event is open to the public, and all community members are encouraged to attend and take part in this moment of remembrance and reflection. For more information, visit cityofpasadena.net. Pasadena has lost one of its most trusted voices. Ann Erdman, a devoted public information officer, beloved community figure, and fixture in both City Hall and on the local cable access channels, passed away on April 30th, 2025. She was 74 years old. Known for her warmth, wit, and unwavering professionalism, Ann served as the City of Pasadena's public information officer from 1991 to 2011. During that time, she became a beacon of clarity and connection, helping residents understand city decisions, navigate emergencies, and engage with local government. One local reporter even dubbed her the Minister of Truthiness, a tribute to her honesty, accessibility, and transparency. Through Pasadena Media and as moderator on City Beat, Ann helped bring civic discourse directly into residents' living rooms, guiding meaningful conversations between elected officials and local journalists. George Filardo, CEO of Pasadena Media, reflected on Ann's history with Pasadena Media, saying, "Ann was a staunch supporter of the community voice. She championed local access media through reporting what was real and true with us on City Beat from 2019 to 2023. Ann and her vibrance will be sorely missed." Ann built a career grounded in compassion, grace, and unshakable integrity. She faced a number of health challenges in her later years, but never lost her determination or sense of humor. In 2012, shortly after retiring, she made local history by riding in both the Rose Parade and its twisted sister, the Doodah Parade, a rare and joyful honor that reflected her civic pride and playful spirit. She continued her public relations work for local nonprofits like the Pasadena Senior Center, elevating the everyday acts of care happening in her community. Ann Erdman's life was one of purpose, built on service, storytelling, and heart. She leaves behind a legacy of truth and trust. Pasadena is better because of her, and she will be deeply missed.
Let's turn next to our lightning round of news updates. 1. More than 500 Altadena leaders and residents called on the California governor and state legislature to allocate $200 million to combat real estate speculation and preserve community control and economic and racial diversity in Altadena after the Eaton Fire by creating a fund to help local nonprofits purchase properties and redevelop them as affordable housing or community ownership models. The need is evident as corporate acquisition of properties in Altadena has been increasing significantly this year. 2. The Army Corps of Engineers has cleared debris and ash from nearly half of the properties destroyed by the Eaton Fire in Altadena, or more than 4,300 of the 9,400 properties destroyed. The crews clear about 68 properties each day and have cleared more than 1.1 million tons of debris so far from all areas of LA County that were damaged by the fires. Unfortunately, lead, arsenic, and other contaminants were recently found in the soil of many of the Pasadena Unified School District's campuses, exceeding state health limits. Outdoor areas with contaminated soil will remain closed until an investigation and necessary remediation is completed. 3. Southern California Edison announced plans to underground 40 circuit miles of power lines in Altadena's high wildfire risk areas and an additional 23 circuit miles outside those areas. Meanwhile, in a call with investors, Edison International CEO Pedro Pizarro said that while SCE has not conclusively determined that its equipment was associated with the ignition of Eaton Fire, it is also not aware of evidence conclusively pointing to another source of ignition. He also acknowledged that it is probable that SCE will face significant financial losses if found liable for starting the fire, as more than 130 litigants claim. 4. Pasadena City Council unanimously approved the fiscal year 2026 to 2030 Capital Improvement Program budget, including 218 active projects with a total estimated cost of $2.46 million. CIP is a 5-year strategic roadmap for long-term infrastructure investment. Regarding the city's proposed budget for fiscal year 2026, City Manager Miguel Marquez and Finance Director Matt Hawksworth explained that decreasing sales tax revenue and small growth in property tax make this a very challenging budget cycle. A general fund shortfall of more than $5 million was originally projected, but now there will be a $1.34 million general fund surplus in the proposed budget. 5. JPL Director Dr. Lori Leshin, who was a guest on this show, has made the decision to step down as the director of the lab for personal reasons. And Caltech has appointed Dave Gallagher, the Associate Director of Strategic Integration, as the 11th JPL Director, effective on June 1st. Dr. Leshin will remain a Bren Professor of Geochemistry and Planetary Science at Caltech, and Gallagher has been with JPL since 1989. In other local leadership news, Pasadena City Manager Miguel Marquez announced that former Assistant City Manager and former Planning Department Director David Reyes, who has served as Interim General Manager for Pasadena Water and Power for more than 15 months, has now been appointed as the new PWP General Manager. 6. Pasadena City Council approved reducing or waiving a number of fees for constructing accessory dwelling units, ADUs, on single-family properties in order to encourage more affordable housing. The majority of ADUs will see a 25% reduction in overall permitting and plan check costs, and applicants using the city's pre-reviewed ADU standard plans or entering into affordability agreements with the Housing Department will receive a 50% reduction in plan check fees. 7. PUSD rescinded layoff notices for 40 certified employees, including teachers, counselors, and psychologists, but will still eliminate 91 certified full-time positions for the 2025 to 26 school year in order to help address its $37 million budget deficit. Also, at a recent joint City Council and PUSD school board meeting, council members encouraged PUSD to engage more with the community regarding its proposed workforce housing project at the former Roosevelt Elementary site, which will include 110 rental units for PUSD employees. 8. Pasadena began its weed abatement and brush clearance services through a new contractor on May 1st. Contracted services began in the southern portion of the lower Arroyo Seco and will be working north towards Jajamungna Watershed Park. City maintenance workers have been working in the central Arroyo, clearing mandated fire clearance areas along the road and adjacent to structures. The city has also partnered with Outward Bound Adventures, a nonprofit work-study program that will be doing weed abatement and brush clearance along the central Arroyo. The city is also partnering with One Arroyo to fund a goat herding program projected to be implemented during the summer months to help clear areas in the Arroyo of invasive grasses and weeds. The city will be working closely with One Arroyo to source grant funds to implement larger projects, including removing invasive species and replacing them with native species. 9. This week, the City Council voted to appoint Allison Henry of District 3, Christine Rodriguez of District 5, and Deborah Dunlap of District 7 to 3 tenant member seats for 4-year terms on the Pasadena Rental Housing Board, and Emily Wernberg and Baruj Mesrobian to 2 at-large positions on the board. Also, the Rental Housing Board approved a $5.37 million budget for fiscal year 2026 that includes 21 full-time employees. They're also considering several potential enforcement options to increase compliance for landlords who refuse to register their units in the citywide rental registry, including misdemeanor charges and tenants' right to petition to withhold rent from non-compliant landlords. More than 6,000 units have an uncertain status. And 10, I'm sad to report that my friend and beloved Pasadenan Ann Erdman recently passed away. She, of course, served as Pasadena's Public Information Officer from 1991 to 2011. Ann served as the Director of Public Affairs and Protocol for the City of Palm Springs before that, and as Press Secretary to the Mayor of Palm Springs. She used to take me out to lunch and give me advice about journalism and communications in Pasadena, and she once invited me to serve on a job interview board for the Public Information Officer for the City of West Hollywood. She helped put on the annual spoof of Pasadena politics and governance called Pasadena Follies. She had an amazing blog about Pasadena history and events, which is still up at annerdman.blogspot.com. She served as a judge for Doodah Parade Queen tryouts. She was the first person to ride in both the Doodah Parade and the Rose Parade. She served as a moderator on City Beat, a TV show on this same station that featured discussions between local journalists and elected officials, which I see as one of the precursors and inspirations for this show. My friend and former deputy editor of the Pasadena Weekly, Joe Pisecki, dubbed Ann the Minister of Truthiness in the 2000s because of her honesty and transparency with reporters. I remember her for her accessibility, her bottomless kindness, her love for Pasadena, and her boundless optimism. Thank you, Ann. Let's welcome our guest and my friend, Ellen Snortland. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for inviting me.
Ellen is an award-winning columnist, author, actor, filmmaker, attorney, radio and TV personality, writing coach, self-defense advocate and instructor, and so much more. She's the writer, director, and producer of the award-winning documentary Beauty Bites Beast and the author of the book of the same name. She also co-authored The Safety Godmothers, the ABCs of Awareness, Boundaries, and Confidence for Teens. And she's won several LA Press Club Journalism Awards, including Journalist of the Year and Columnist of the Year. And that's just barely scratching the surface of all the things that you've done, Ellen. I've been really enjoying your very deeply personal and poignant columns since the Eaton Fire. You, of course, lost your home. Has that been a way to work through the grief, and how has the fire changed your writing life?
Well, it's been my mainstay and provided stability for me. I have not missed one column, and I've not missed one creative writing class, because actually writing is my joy. It's kind of the only joy I have right now,
Mm-hmm.
and I would be loath to let it go. And as far as working through grief, the way I look at my grief is that my sharing my personal journey is providing a platform for other people who are feeling the same way or similarly, who don't happen to have the real estate I do with the column and the access that I have.
Mm-hmm.
So I've really made it a point to just be incredibly truthful and honest about what I never fathomed, but I would have to go through any of this. I mean, here we are, my husband and I in our 70s, starting from scratch. Really?
Yeah, and it didn't have to happen either,
No.
is the terrible part.
Yeah.
Of course, you've been a weekly columnist for decades, and you're just nominated as a finalist once again for 3 LA Press Club Awards. Not just the column, but you're extremely prolific. How do you maintain that discipline over time, and what is your process?
Well, frankly, whatever's bothering me gets written into a column. My husband Ken has said, I need to get you that hoodie that says, be careful what you say around me. You may end up in my column.
Right.
And I really do look and see what, can I say pissed off? What pissed me off this week,
Right.
usually, or what broke my heart.
Mm-hmm.
And recently it's been what has broken my heart. And, a lot of things have broken my heart lately. My dog died, which in some ways
So sorry.
was like, really?
Yeah.
Really? And
Pounding.
yeah, cascades of
Mm.
one anvil to my head after another,
Yeah.
and most recently, a rogue Tetra Tech employee went into our property and took down trees that he had no business taking
Oh,
down,
wow.
and it was like, wow. And so we've been grieving our house, but we've also been grieving. We had 36 trees on our property. And we hired an arborist to give us an assessment of how many might survive. And he was basically saying, maybe, because how can how can you really tell
Sure.
when our part of Altadena, I heard somebody say, was the hottest place in the whole conflagration.
Mm.
And we had a 1954 vintage trailer in the backyard, and all I could find of it was a puddle of aluminum.
Wow.
And it's astonishing. Anyway, so our trees, that was a whole new wave of grief because 36 trees, 6 might survive, and that rogue Tetra Tech guy took our coastal live oak.
Mm. Wow. It sounds illegal.
Yes, yes. And it had growth on it.
Wow.
They've evolved to survive fires.
Hmm. It's just like one tragedy after another.
Yeah.
And you're also you do your writing workshop with local authors. Are you still doing that at this
And not
point?
only local, but global authors,
Right.
because I'm online. I have a student in Finland. I have a
Mhm.
student in Rome.
Wow.
I have a student in Vermont. And I actually, that came about because of COVID. And I sent out a survey to my students and I said, do you want to go back to in real life? And without exception, everybody said, no,
Mm.
that would mean our friends from across the globe couldn't be with us. And
Right.
so that's one of the magics of the workshop that I've had for now 20 years. People bond.
Hmm.
And part of the writing process is having collegiality. And so that's one of the things that I provide in my workshops is people bond and they
Mm.
like each other and they want to hear what else is going on with their story or their
Yeah.
memoir or whatever
Yep.
it is.
As you know, I've taken the workshop. I found it incredibly helpful and a lot of fun too.
Mhm.
And that drive you need to keep writing. Some people need that social experience.
Well, not only that, accountability and a place
Right.
to show up.
Hmm.
And, you know, wow, I'm not going to show up to my writer's workout without having done something,
Sure.
even if it's the last 45 minutes before class starts.
Right.
Who cares?
Yeah.
The author of Ruby Fruit Jungle, whose name is escaping me right now, she said, if it weren't for the last minute, nothing would get done.
Mm. Right.
Just like,
Now, can people get involved with that through your website?
actually, it's better to go to Ellen Snortland at mac.com. I'm in the middle of constructing a website and it's not done yet.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
I don't want to have them get lost on the internet with that.
Right. And tell us a bit about the about impact personal safety, the philosophy behind that, and how people can get involved with that as well.
Well, Impact Personal Safety LA .org. It's, I think, a fundamental human right
Hmm.
to be able to set and maintain a boundary. And if women and girls were taught how to set boundaries, a lot fewer things would occur that endangers them.
Yeah.
A lot of women and girls freeze because they've been told that a man's going to help them or a boy is going to be standing by to prevent something bad happening.
Mm.
And I don't know, I don't have a chaperone. And, it's just, it's empowering. And I consider it to be a human right.
Hmm.
And
It was on early 2000s, I believe. It was on a brilliant TV show, King of the Hill, which is
Yes.
coming back after 15 years,
Yes.
new episodes.
Yes.
How did you know how that came to be on the show, and what impact did that have on the program?
well, we were on Oprah.
Hmm.
I mean, it always happens through somebody who's a student of ours and said, wow, that changed my life. I want everybody to know how to do this. And so that's how that happened with King of the Hill. But Oprah, we thought, okay, finally, we're going to have that uptick.
Right.
And we did for a while, but it was not sustainable because women and girls, many of them, are afraid of being afraid. So it's a little daunting,
Mm.
the idea of fighting a padded mock assailant.
Mhm.
People look at that, especially women, and go, I'm too afraid to do that. Well, the key to conquering that fear is to go through it, not avoid it.
Sure.
And you know, I've never heard anything where people say, "Wow, I wish I'd known about this when I was younger."
Hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, it literally can save someone's life.
Oh,
It does save lives.
absolutely.
And your book, Beauty Bites Beasts, turned it into a documentary a few years ago.
Yes.
Explores those same themes. What was that process like? That must have been extremely hard a project that took a lot of hard work on your part, and but also saves lives.
Yes.
So what do you
Yes.
want people to take away from that film?
Well, I want them to see it. It's on Vimeo now,
Mhm.
and it's Beauty Bites Beast on Vimeo. I get emails from people saying if I'd not seen this movie,
Wow.
I'd be severely injured or dead by
Mm.
now. And I'm like going, okay, it was worth foreclosing the house for that. I mean, I did everything you're not supposed to do. We got to the point where we knew if we didn't get financing, which, you know what, a lot of people in Hollywood did not want to have women knowing how to set boundaries.
Mm.
It's like a conflict of interest, and we did not get funding through traditional manners. And everybody knows you're not supposed to put your own money into it, but I didn't see any other way to finish it. And I'd
Mm.
spent 12 years,
Wow.
12 years of my life.
Hmm.
And I thought, you know what? There's no way I'm going to let this go. And we were on the list for Best Documentary for the 2016
Hmm.
Academy Awards, and we didn't win, but we were on the list.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a great film, and you know, like Impact Personal Safety is a message that not only women and girls, but everyone should learn about.
Yes, gentle men. I mean, my husband has always been, thick Coke glasses and picked on and bullied. And when he took it, it rocked his world
Right.
completely.
Yeah.
And the men's classes start like the women's classes do, which is sitting around and saying, "Why are you here? What do you want to get out of it?" And Ken said, "Well, you know, Ellen can't protect me all the time." And they all laughed and everything, but it's true.
Right.
It's true
Yeah.
because I am a badass.
That's for sure. And you're also performing your one woman show now that she's gone.
Right.
Tomorrow, and when this airs, it'll be tomorrow,
Right,
Friday,
right.
or no, Saturday, May
Right,
24th. It's a deeply personal story about your mother, your Norwegian mother.
Yes.
Tell us about that, and can people buy tickets at the door?
Well, it's free.
Okay.
No, they can't buy tickets because there aren't any to sell. We'll take donations, of
Mhm.
course, but yeah, I kept writing a novel that after I finished my terrible first rough draft, I go, this sucks. This novel sucks. And it doesn't want to be a novel. And I went, ding, it wants to be a solo show.
Right.
And indeed, that's what it's been. And we did it in Edinburgh for a month and at the New York Fringe for a month.
Mhm.
And I am profoundly moved by it. I feel like I didn't even write it. It was as if my mother was channeling herself through me. And I'm not going to do a spoiler. And people just kind of come away from it forgiving their parent that they did not understand. And it wasn't until after my mother died, thus now that she's gone, unraveling the mystery of my mother, that I just went, okay, yeah, I get it.
It's amazing how different stories will work better in different mediums, or different ways of telling the story.
Yes.
Yeah.
My cousin slash student slash friend has been struggling with a story that it just didn't work in any other medium. Voila, she hit upon it in a script writing class I'm in with her. And you got to find the right container. If you think of a book as a container, if you think of a play as a container, you got to find the right container.
Yeah.
And she did. And it was thrilling, because I've been with her on this journey for a while. And wow. And that's the other thing. I'm writing 2 plays, which, I'm not busy enough. But that, I love tipping gender on the tippy top of their heads.
Right.
And so one is about Claudia Claus, Santa's invisible, and uh, she does everything.
Mhm.
She finally decides she's going to leave him because he has not thanked her. He has not given her any credit for it. And it's funny as well as kind of tragic.
Right.
And then the other one I'm writing is The Fairy Project, which answers the question, whatever happened to the 3 fairy godmothers of Sleeping Beauty? And this answers it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There's a bit of an outdated story, the Disney version anyway.
Oh,
Oh, and I forgot to mention that your show Saturday will be at the Altadena Library.
Altadena Public
Yes.
Library, which, by the way, I was scheduled to perform on January 11th, which,
Wow.
that kind of got hijacked.
Mhm.
And it's a miracle that when Ken and I were preemptively evacuating, I decided to grab my show suitcase. We thought we'd be back the next day, so it was kind of like, well, why are you doing that? And so I threw it in, and the spine of my show are these outfits that my mother made,
Mhm.
and so it's really a miracle.
Well, I hope everyone goes to see it
Me
and
too.
and supports your work in other ways. Subscribe to your Substack and read your columns and join your workshop if they're writers. And you're one of the hardest working people I know, and I really value your friendship. So
Thank you.
thank you for coming on the show.
I
really
feel the
appreciate
same way about you. Thank you,
it.
Justin.
All right, take care.
Hmm.
Before we go, here is this month in Pasadena history. It was this month in 1925 when the Pasadena Playhouse first opened at its current location, meaning it is celebrating its centennial this year. It was located elsewhere starting in 1917. As we reported last month, the Playhouse has purchased its building just in time for the centennial celebration. It is California's official state theater, and it earned that honor in 1937 by being the first theater in the country to perform every Shakespeare play. It also received the Regional Theater Tony Award in 2023. Congratulations to the Playhouse on its centennial. It's come a long way since weathering some financial difficulties over the years and now is strongly positioned going forward. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Pasadena Monthly. Tune in every fourth Friday of the month at 5 p.m. Learn more at pasadenamedia.org and justindouglaschapman.com. Drop me a line at jchapman@cityofpasadena.net. We'll see you next time.